Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another video showing a couple of subscriber World of Tanks replays. We're going with some games from Mac here. Haven't seen Mac in a while. One of these tanks, this one, the Sherman Firefly, is a machine that I don't think I've ever showed on this channel before. And the other, in the second video, is a machine that I've shown before, but not in a long time. And it's had a bit of an armor rework when it received a HD model. So I thought it was reasonable to show that. Now I apologise, the graphic settings for these videos is going to have to be not the best. Ever since they released a mini patch in patch 9.14, and this has continued into 9.15, higher graphic settings just make the game client crash. Don't know why. There we go. I've checked drivers are up to date and all that jazz, but no, just makes my game client crash, so there we go. Anyway, here on Sand River, and Mac is top tier, so hopefully you should be able to have a good impact. The Sherman Firefly, it's a funny little machine. It's, well, it was one of those machines that was never going to live up to the reputation that it had. It's on that, the newest British tech line, the one which is a mix of tank destroyers and medium tanks, culminating in the FV 4005, the thing that's basically a Centurion hull with a barn stuck to the top. And, well, it feels like a bit of an odd machine. A number of the machines on that line don't really seem to be able to make up their mind whether they're a medium tank or a tank destroyer, and suffer as a result. And the Sherman Firefly is one of those. Basically, the Sherman Firefly is, well, it's a Sherman with a pretty much stock engine, so it's quite slow, with a 17-pounder gun shoved in the turret, which means there isn't much space in the turret, which means that it gets uninspiring gun depression, considering the Shermans typically get about 12 degrees of gun depression, which is excellent. This thing gets 5, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, which is not so good. The gun also, I mean, for a tier 6 medium tank you get pretty good penetration, 171 with your regular armor piercing rounds. The alpha damage is 150, which for a tier 6 medium is also fairly decent. However, the fully aimed accuracy is pretty terrible. I think it's 0.39 dispersion at 100 meters if memory serves. And it has that sort of 17-pounder gun performance. Those of you who've played many of the British tanks might know what I mean. I don't know, as a gun it just seems to throw shells everywhere in the aiming circle, which can be a little frustrating, but there we go. C'est la vie. KV2, yay, damage. And Mac's basically playing this thing the way you often end up playing the Firefly, is kind of a, well, ranged support, a thing that's a bit like a tank destroyer but not quite. I know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a bad tier 6 Panther. That's what the Firefly makes me think of. Because the playstyle is not dissimilar to the Panther, except, and actually it gets higher alpha damage than the Panther despite being a tier lower, and it gets that good penetration, except that the Panther has better accuracy, and actually has a bit of armor, and has some gun depression, and has a reasonable slab of health. Yeah, you can see which I prefer. But there we go. To each their own. So I'm not a massive fan of the Firefly. This kind of medium tank TD hybrid thing it's got going on, I don't think it's actually that good. I don't think it gets the best of that deal. Switching fire now to a Chaffee. Actually getting back to the game at hand, and it's actually quite impressive that Mac manages to hit the track rather than the main body of the tank there, but there we go. Finally a penetrating shot that does some damage, and there's another one. 31 health remaining on that Chaffee. Jumbo finishes him off. That leaves a T-34, who appears intent on spotting Mac, which is not a terrible idea. Maybe the enemy artillery can do something about him. And Mac is fairly sensibly backing off to put this nice chunk of cover between him and the bad guys. That Panzer IV is in a very bad place. Getting tracked there, use your repair kit immediately. If you don't have a repair kit, why don't you have a repair kit? Go and get one. Scoreline is 7-7. This is, of course, I should have mentioned, an assault game on Sand River. And here come the bad guys. So, M6. Mac puts one shot into him, and then lines up a shot on the guy's track. Guy backs off, but Mac can just keep him trapped here. And one more shot to finish this guy off. He flubs his shot, and there we go. Goodbye, Mr. M6. T-34 has finally realised that perhaps this isn't the best place to hang out. And Mac manages to put a shot into him, and it looks like someone else might have done as well. The guy's left, well, was on 150 odd health, now on 130 odd. Is that Panzer III-4 firing high explosive? Oh dear. KV2 there, really don't want to get shot by him. That would hurt, regardless of which gun he's using. It'd just be the difference between a potential one-shot and 300 damage, neither of which are particularly good outcomes. And the scoreline is 9 apiece. So here you can see Mac's kind of having to fight with that gun depression. KV2 misses Mac, Mac misses the KV2, and it looks like the KV2 is using the long gun. And despite the KV2 not having the best armour, that shot hits his gun mantler and he blocks the 17-pounder. Someone's putting shots into the KV2 though, so hopefully that guy will get himself whittled down. Still got 600 health remaining though, and oh, hello Mr. Rudy. There we go, shot into his side, and rinse and repeat. Ah, that one bounced. Looked like it hit the frontal plate, which was of course at a pretty steep angle, so that would make it bounce off. KV2, where's he gone? Now Mac's using binos here rather than optics, which is something I also tend to do on my tier 6 mediums. I mean, on tier 6, optics doesn't really take you up to the view range cap, and I do like having that maximum view range on occasion, thus I tend to run binos rather than coated optics. Generally speaking, tier 7 or above, I run optics instead though. And it looks like Mac has chosen something fairly similar. Also, of course, binos have the advantage that they can just be freely transferred from machine to machine. Now this is a slightly awkward position. Mac can't really shoot the Rudy, can't shoot past these wrecks, and the Rudy's taking cover behind dunes anyway. And if Mac comes out to possibly get a better shot, though actually I'm not sure it would give him a better shot, he then has to worry about a KV2 and also a T-34, but mainly a KV2 to contend with, which would be kind of painful. So there we go. So Mac's playing this a little bit cautiously. Honestly, can't say I blame him. The Sherman Firefly is one of those tanks that if you decide to go for it, often things go horrendously wrong. With its pretty shoddy armour and its horrible mobility and its lack of gun depression, and it doesn't exactly get a huge amount of alpha damage. I mean, 150 for a tier 6 medium tank is perfectly respectable, but it's not about to set the world on fire. So there we go. Very lucky bounce there from the KV2. If he was using the 152mm howitzer, that wouldn't have bounced, that would have done a lot of damage instead. And can Mac reload in time? Oh, KV2 flubs his last shot and doesn't get another. So there's kill number 3. Scoreline is now 10-9 in Mac's team's favour. And remember, they're defending this assault map, and so they don't actually have to kill all the bad guys. They just have to stop the bad guys killing them or capturing the base. Rudy pushing through the valley there. Not on much health. If someone goes down, they could probably wreck him. And there's a T-34. There was a T-34 last spotted around here somewhere. But we know if he's still around here, then he's a Muppet, but the T-34 doesn't have much health left. Turns out he's a Muppet. If he was going to come around here, he probably should have gone and helped the KV2 while he had the chance. 1 minute 15 left on this match. Rudy is down in the river, and Mac manages to dodge like a slow, fat sumo ninja. Don't really know where I'm going with that. The artillery, and not take a 155mm shell to the face, which is always good. Rudy over here. Hopefully Mac can finish the fellow off. Where's he gone? There he is. He's even looking this way, actually. Takes a hit from him, but gets finished off in return. That's kill number 5. That just leaves a T-34, Sherman 3, and the M41 howitzer motor carriage, otherwise known as the Scumbag, the artillery, of course. But with only 30 seconds left on this match, I can't see the enemy team winning this. Don't know what the friendly artillery's complaining about. Oh, it was meant for the enemy team. Fair enough. 20 seconds left on the match. They're never going to kill all the enemy. But conversely, the enemy are never going to kill all them or cap in time. This match is over. Just remains to be seen whether Mac can put another shot or two into someone in the last few seconds of the game. Probably not, but you never know. 2, 1, nah. And there we go. That's the end of the game. So let's go and have a look at the results. Right, here we go then. That was enough for Max Ace Tanker with the Firefly, along with Bruiser, that Duelist, Fighter, Fire for Effect, and a High Caliber award. 2,209 damage done, 5 kills, 1,191 base experience, which is not a huge amount, but a number of these tier 6 medium tanks seem to have lower XP requirements for the Ace than I would have expected. Although that still hasn't prevented me from racking up over 400 games in the Type 58 without acing the damn thing yet, but there we go. If we look at the rest of the performance by both teams, Mac did far and away the most damage, although kudos to the enemy T-34-85 Rudy. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, or maybe I am. PQ Extreme, he put in 1,700 damage. And there's a few other reasonable performances. Somuasal 40 put in over 1,200 damage despite being bottom tier, so well done to him. 41 shots fired, 41 hits, 18 penetrations for that damage count, most of which was from pretty long range. 300 damage blocked by armor, 7 vehicles damaged, 5 of them destroyed, and over 850 assistance damage. Running a premium account at the time, so that meant a 31,000 credit profit. Tier 6 is fairly profitable, which is nice. And with the premium account, almost 1,800 experience, plus almost 90 free experience into the bargain. So that was the Firefly. Let's move on. Here we go then, second match. Once again we're with Mac, and he's driving the Black Prince, so another British machine. This time we're upper tier at tier 7, and it is of course the heavy tank, and Mac clearly quite likes this machine as he has 2 marks of excellence on the gun barrel, and he's kept it, though I know that he has progressed further up the tech line than this. He's here in a top tier game. The Black Prince is one of those machines that really benefits from being at the top of the feeding pool. And he's here on Ensk, which is actually a pretty good map for the Black Prince. It's a small map, so it doesn't have to drive too far to find a fight, which is good because it is slow as sin. And a lot of it is city, so you can side scrape and angle around corners and all of that jazz. So the selling point on the Black Prince, for those who don't know, is the armor. The armor's pretty good. When it received a HD model, the turret got changed a little bit, and I heard it got made a bit weaker. Though I don't know the exact specifics of it, I haven't really looked it up. The gun is the same 17-pounder, basically, that you saw on the Firefly at tier 6 a moment ago. Hello, Mr. AMX. See the armor there. It's the same 17-pounder, but it's a better version of that gun. So here on the Black Prince, it gets better accuracy. I think it gets a better rate of fire. But things like the penetration and the average alpha damage remain unchanged. 3 friendly tanks are dead already, which is a great start. And Max puts a shot into the VK there. Now, that was a little bit careless. He just kind of came around that corner with his side armor exposed so people could actually hurt him, which is to say was a little bit careless. That shot, well, I think he was going for the track there because it never would have actually penetrated the guy's armor at that angle. And there's another shot from the AMX. The Black Prince is quite a long tank, and, well, you do therefore have to be careful about being shot in the bum. That's never going to penetrate the AMX, but one of the guys behind him, hello Mr. Hellcat, that might do the job. Now, if Mac can track this guy here, unfortunately not. Hello Mr. Hellcat, again. Mac only loses his track there, so it's fine. Sets the Hellcat on fire and picks up the kill. So that brings the scores slightly more even than they were. Goes for the tracking shot, looks like he gets it. AMX decides he doesn't want to stay there and uses his repair kit, which is entirely understandable because with the reload on this gun, he could just keep that fellow permatracked. Tiger behind him, opening up on him. And one thing to mention about the Black Prince is that along with tanks like the Tiger, Tiger P, the KV-3, it gets quite a lot of health for a tier 7 heavy tank. Not quite as much as the Tiger, but 1450 HP is still a good slab. Nashorn, I've no idea why that Nashorn's there. That's a terrible position for him. Someone with an autoloader's opening up. Looks like the Stewart, but he's not going to achieve a great deal of much. And again, the really long chassis on the Black Prince is proving problematic as Mac takes another shot in the body. Nashorn there, again, really not sure what that guy's thinking. That's never going to end well. Mac even goes for the tracking shot. The guy only had 100 health left. He was going to kill him rather than track him, but, you know, it's all good. Scoreline's actually been evened up a bit. It's now 6-7. Goes for the Tiger. Now, the Tiger's one of those tanks that can actually penetrate the Black Prince fairly effectively if the guy aims properly. The Black Prince has one of those armor profiles that if you don't aim at it, there's a good chance you're going to bounce. If you do aim at it and you know what you're doing, then yes, you can actually give the enemy problems. And if this guy's using the top gun, and it looks like he is, 200 penetration is perfectly capable of going through the frontal plate of the Black Prince. You can go through the frontal plate with like 170 penetration, honestly. So those Soviet 122mm guns are perfectly capable of it. As that shot kills the Tiger, there's the AMX behind him. It looks like AMX isn't fully upgraded. It looked like the stock turret. And also I'd have expected the AMX to actually penetrate Mac a bit more if he was using the top gun. Doesn't look like the top gun. There we go, more track damage. That guy is not angling very well. The side armor on the AMX is terrible, and why does he think he's going to survive that? There we go, there's kill number 4. However, it's just Mac and the T-43 remaining against a whole world of bad guys. This is not good. Well, all you can do is try and eke the game out as long as you can and see if that's enough to win. The problem is that the friendly base is being captured, the Black Prince is slow, and Mac just cannot get back to the base in time to do anything about that. 17 seconds, the Black Prince is slow enough that it needs longer than that, and there's a good chance he's going to die before that happens anyway, as I reckon the enemy team are probably going to come for him. Manages to actually ammo rack the VK and take him out, but the enemy T-37 isn't having any of that and shuts Mac down. The enemy VK takes that badly, and apparently Mac is a hacker. Yes, all of those hacks were used. Your ammo rack just went. Deal with it, mate. Deal with it. Anyway, that unfortunately puts an end to Mac's little adventure. Wasn't able to secure a win in this second game, but nonetheless, let's go and have a look at those results. Here we go then. This is Mac's kind of painful results screen. Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Demolitionist, Duelist, Fighter, Fire for Effect, and High Caliber. Still not unfortunately enough to get the win. That's a pretty painful score screen. Well done to the enemy Type 64 on Ensk in a light tank. That's not particularly easy, but he managed over 2,000 damage. Mac himself, though, did over 4,000 damage, which when you consider the gun only has 150 alpha is very impressive. 4,270 damage would be a good result in a tier 10 game, let alone tier 7. 5 kills, 1,436 base experience. Of course, that's once you fold in the bonus for courageous resistance because of that high caliber medal, which did the job there. Looking at the rest of Mac's team, the friendly KV-1 actually, bearing in mind he was only a tier 5, did respectably with 1,300 damage there. But the Tiger 1, 600, T-43, 500, AT-15A, 700, it's all pretty terrible. Which is a shame, but there we go. 35 shots fired, 34 hits, 26 penetrations. For that damage count, 25 hits received, of which 17 didn't penetrate, to get almost 3,500 damage blocked by his armor. 3 enemy vehicles spotted, 5 damaged, all 5 killed. And with a standard account, even on a defeat, that was a 27,500 credit profit. With a premium account, that'd have been almost 50,000 credits profit. And like I said, on a defeat. So 927 base XP plus the 509 from Courageous Resistance brings it up to over 1,400 and 71 free experience into the bargain. Like I said, just a shame that he couldn't quite get the win out of that. There were a couple of times when Mac could have angled better, and the length of the Black Prince did mean he took a shot here or there that he didn't necessarily have to, but all things considered, I don't think any of that would have changed the outcome of that game. He played well, his team didn't, they lost, but Mac was able to put in a pretty good showing before he went down. So, there we go. It looks like even with the new HD model, the Black Prince's armor still, generally speaking, works. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that pair of games, courtesy of Mac, in, well, as I say, one tank that we've seen before, but has been changed, and one tank that we've not. If you're interested in sending your own replays in, then just upload them to whatreplays.com and send me the URL link in a PM on YouTube, and I will take a look. They don't have to be ace tankers or anything like that. I tend to prioritize machines and or players that we've not seen before, or that something has happened to. So as I say, for example, in this video we saw one machine that I don't think I've showcased before, the Sherman Firefly, and the Black Prince has been changed since I last did a video about it. So I thought it was worth showing those two. Anyway, as I said, I hope you guys enjoyed those videos. And if you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.